All right, we're pulling the magneto out of this bike. We bought the special tool. It screws into the end of the gear. We've marked the gear with male and female. It may not be clear there, but it's clearly marked. And you got that all the way screwed in the outer, and now we're tightening down the inner and see if the gear pops off. This is so exciting. Does it pop off, Kevin? Look at that.
With the right tool,
With
it's
the right
nothing.
tool.
Yeah.
All right, so guard that with my life.
Yeah.
So that doesn't get smeared. And this is, I don't know if this is keyed in here or not. Let me get some light, I'm curious. Let me see the inside of that guy. Is he keyed?
Oh, something just...
Oh, you dropped a little spacer. Okay, on the
It's
other
a
side.
lock washer.
Okay, now, there's no key in there. It's
Nope.
just a tapered fit.
Nope.
So it's good that we marked it.
Yep.
Okay, we could have cranked the engine around to match marks, but I don't see any marks on this gear that are official, other than that maybe that one right there, that little one there.
Yeah, there's
that might be the mark.
Yeah, there's
that
a
they
line
use for
there,
timing.
and there was a little line. I saw it somewhere. Anyway, yeah, there was a little line in there somewhere. In
Yeah,
fact,
see-
it's covered.
Well, no, I did that.
Yeah.
That might not be the line that
right.
goes in the
That
tooth.
line, yeah.
There's other lines for
Yep.
the other gears,
Yep.
so that's why we're just freezing the motor, and we're not going to touch it at all until we put the magneto back in. So at this point in time, Kevin, you should be able to lift this magneto out.
Yep.
Because we've got all three bolts out. See if you can lift it out.
Yep.
Something else fell. What was
Yep.
that? The washer on that bottom bolt.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so take him out.
Yep.
And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy down to my house and go into its guts and see what we see. Because I've got the magneto I just rebuilt. I've got a magneto that belongs to a buddy of mine that seems to be jammed up. And I have this one now that I can put on my bench. We have 3 to play with, which is going to be kind of fun. You up for that?
Yep.
Is that a
Sounds
plan?
good.
That's the plan?
It's a plan.
Okay, so one of us needs to roll out a car to go to my house.
Yeah, and I got a car.
You got a car. Okay, good.
Yeah, well, I did have a car. We'll see if it's still there.
Let's see if your wife is still there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, this is interesting. This is the magneto I just rebuilt yesterday and tested good. This magneto belongs to a buddy of mine, and the only thing, well, we don't know what's wrong with it, but you can't hardly turn it, so it's sort of dragging inside. I'm going to take that apart and see what I can find in there for him. This is the one that came out of the bike that Kevin is working on, and we have we couldn't get any good spark out of it. I mean, we just could not get good consistent spark out of it. So we brought it here. We haven't done anything to it at all. We're getting ready to spin it up. You spinning it forward or backwards?
I'm going to try
can't
the other
do-
way.
You can't. It'll just
Undo this
It'll just
screw.
undo that. Yes.
Okay.
So we're spinning it backwards, okay? Because the nut is threaded on. But let's spin it backwards and check for spark. And we haven't done anything to this guy yet. So I'll get over here and watch the sparklers and see what we get when you give it a spin. Go ahead. Hold on. Hello. Yeah, just spin the heck out of it. Boy, do we have spark. Wow. We don't have a magneto problem, folks. I'll be darned. You can try that, but I'll bet you. I'll bet you.
I bet you it just undoes. I know, I understand, but maybe we can get a little spark.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Not a
okay.
chance. It's going to come off right in your hand.
Well, we got spark.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
I saw the spark.
Yeah, we got
that's
spark.
all.
But yeah, this is starting
Okay.
to come off. But
All
point
right,
is, we have
so
spark.
we do not have a magneto problem, which is kind of cool. We've proven that. What we are going to do is take the end off, pull the armature out, and make sure that the capacitor that's built into the armature has been disconnected. We're going to do that just because the magneto's on the bench. We have the time, we have the tools, we might as well. Okay? Now this one also has been modified to have the bright spark capacitor built into it. I don't know if you can see it. I'll show it to you when we get in there, and I'll show it to you. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, this could be fun. I will come right out and say it. I love this kind of stuff. This is what I did for a living in 40 years in the computer industry, looking at stuff and trying to find minute differences and documenting stuff and writing reports and testing things, and it turns me on. I mean, this is almost orgasmic. I love this stuff. This one marked C is for the client. This one marked F is mine. This one's Roger's that I'm going to go into. The differences is Roger's here and client here both have these spring clips that hold the spark plug wire connectors on, while the one I have has screw-on that are not removable per se. The client's has a beveled edge here. Mine does not, and Roger's does, for clearance on the engine for the bike that they were specified for. So these are slightly different, probably for different bikes. Okay, yeah. Now, what else did we notice? First of all, Roger's and the client's are both model 42413A. 42413A. Mine is a 42298D as in dog. That's on the little plates at the end where you can read the information. Okay? It's there, believe me. And it's there. Okay? Let's see, the client's was built in 12 of 62. Roger's was built in 7 of 61. And mine was built in 10 of 62. So these two were both in 62 within 2 months of each other, and yet they're substantially different, which is strange. Assuming that these numbers are, in fact, the day of manufacture. Right there, type AC and then a 1262. Over here, we have a 1062. And over here, we have, let's see if we can see it, a 7 of 61. Okay, so these are differences. Now, also on these guys, differences, which once again I'm finding fascinating, they all three have the steel points plates. There are two types, steel and brass. These are all steel. Okay? Yeah, there, thank you. So we've got all steel points plates. What else did we notice? The beveled edge and the clipser springs, the year, the models, and the...
These are manual.
Yeah, these are this is a manual
Advance.
that's actually here. My manual advance is closed off, and the customer's has a manual advance that actually works. So that's about all we... That's what we found. And and we just tested this. It works perfectly. We are going to take it apart and see if the armature has been modified, put it back together, take it back to Kevin's, test it again using his clips, his wires, his spark plugs, and see what the results are. So that's where we are. It's an interesting morning. All right, this to me is fun, and this is where you say I'm a little weird. But detail is important on this kind of silly stuff. We've got the 3 magnetos taken apart and laid out identically. We're going to do a little identical testing with an old-fashioned analog ammeter, which frankly, in my humble opinion, is oh so much easier to use than the new digitals. And all we're doing is checking resistance. Go ahead and put those leads together and watch the needle. Okay, there goes full continuity, and when you take them apart, there's no continuity and no resistance. That's the testing we're going to do. Now down here on these end caps, I'm going to show you that the body has a bearing race pressed into it, and believe it or not, that is actually insulated. There goes my neighbor. Okay, so as I was saying, the body has a bearing race pressed into it, and it's actually insulated by a paper washer. Paper, which then goes on to last 20, 30, 40, 50 years just fine, thank you very much. But believe it or not, this is insulated from this by a paper washer all the way around it. So, Kevin, yeah, give us body to race, and I'll show that there's nothing there, no continuity. Now go from body to body and just show that you've got a good meter. There, see, that's body to body, And now go ahead and do body to race. Okay, let's go to the next one. From that one to this one, I'm going body to race. And over here we have no continuity, and go body to body. Okay, that shows continuity, so we got a good meter. Okay, going down to the third one, body to race, no continuity, and body to body to show we have a good meter. Yeah, so all three of these are nicely insulated. They've got the paper insulation in there, and they're just fine, thank you very much. Now, believe it or not, the next thing is, in the bottom of the case, you got that flashlight? We're going to shine the light down there and show you that at the bottom here, it's the same thing. There's a bearing race down there. That bearing race is isolated from the body of the Magneto by a paper washer. So Kevin's going to reach way down in the bottom and touch that bearing race. You can just hold one of them up here and go to that bottom, and I'll show on the meter. Check go body to body and show that the meter's working. Okay, now go body to race. Got it? No continuity. Good. Let's go to the next guy. Okay. Body to body to show that we have continuity. Okay, go to body to race.
Can't see it.
You got you down there?
Yep.
And we have no continuity. So that's good. All right, so now going over here. Body to body, and we'll get continuity. Okay, body to race. And we got, you there?
Yep.
Nothing. Good. So both of these bearing shells on both ends are good, nicely insulated from the body. Okay, now the fun begins. Let's go through the armature. We should have continuity from here to here because it's common. And then from here to the wiper in here that it has some resistance. So let's do that again. Okay, go end to end. It's just a common slug, so it doesn't matter. But now go from the end down to that wiper. And we have some resistance. It doesn't matter how much resistance we have because you just want consistency between the armatures. We're not even so scientific that we care what that resistance is as long as it is the same. So for this one, body to body and full. Now body to wiper, the same amount as the other one. Okay? Now let's go down to this third guy. That's the one down here Roger has. We're going back, body to body, and we got full continuity. Body to wiper. Are you there? Body to wiper. Right there. He's got no continuity through this armature, which tells us this armature is bad and they are not repairable. So Roger's got himself a dead Magneto because he needs a new armature inside the body. All right, isn't that cool? Okay, that was really neat in as much as by being thorough one end to the other, going through all three of them the same way, we got good consistent results right down to the center, the armature of that last one, which I think is just neater than heck. And isn't detail fun? Okay, we'll continue with looking at these armatures and see, are these, oh, I know what I want to show you. This guy has modified his armature. Look down inside there. Where is it? That nice green wire. This is the client.
Yeah, that's the client.
Which one had the green wire?
Client?
Not that one.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is, the other end. Thank you. I'm going nuts. It is modified. He's cut the wires and insulated them. And I have done the same thing on mine. Cut the wires and insulated them. Okay, those have to be done for the bright spark. And Rogers has,
It's connected.
it's still connected. Still connected to the plate down there. So this one has never been modified because it doesn't have a bright spark capacitor built into it. Anyway, so, and it doesn't matter because they work just fine. Thank you very much. For most usage, the only time we change into the bright spark capacitor is when we're doing an overhaul or maintenance. Okay, so that's where we are so far. I'll show you one more difference. This cap came off of Rogers, right? Right, interesting cap, nice cap. Okay, that goes with Rogers. And this one came off mine, completely different style, but same thing. I have no idea what this vent is used for, but it goes there. And gee willikers, guys, that's where we are right now. We know Rogers is bad. We will put it aside, talk to him about what he wants to do. This guy is checking out 100% wonderful. We'll put him back together and take him back to Kevin's and try him on the bike and see what happens. Let's see. All right, Kevin's got his mag put back together. We've got it set up in the test bed. Go ahead and spin her up and let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. Don't you just love the dancing spark? Okay, so we got a good mag there. We're going to take back and put it back in that beezer and find out what else is the problem. Now I've got mine just about put back together. We're going to put him back in the vise and double check that he still has spark. And then we'll head up to Kevin's house. All right, we're back in Kevin's shop. We're going to set up a test using his spark plug leads and his spark plug mounts on the side of the Magneto that we just worked on. We did a test at my house using my parts, and now we're going to do a test here before we install it. We marked this gear very closely. You can see the male tooth goes in between the two teeth here marked with the white. The gear, and I just dropped out that little washer one more time. That must be about the 6th or 8th time
Yeah.
we dropped that. It is keyed to the shaft, right? Yes, it is. Can I see it? Is it really keyed?
I couldn't find any key.
Oh, it's not keyed. How about that? Okay, that means we have to set it up and put this end in the right position before we bolt it down. I thought it was keyed.
Nope.
Doggone, there wasn't any sense to us marking those teeth then. That didn't do us any good. Okay, well, that's where we are. We have to put it in there. We have to set it up to full advance. Then we have to put the gear on with the engine set to full advance. And the fun continues. All right, guys, this is cool. I mean, seriously, we have done some neat troubleshooting here today and proved we had a brand new plug that's fouled. It was a brand new plug that you just put in the bikes, I guess yesterday morning, and we had all that trouble. Was that yesterday? That was the day before, right? All that trouble all day long.
Several days ago, yeah.
Had to buy the special tool to pull the mag out and just took the mag apart, checked everything out, did a test, everything worked fine at my house, brought it back here, put the original plugs back into it. I want you to watch what happens here when we spin it up. He's getting ready to do this. Now I'm going to get in here close, and I want you to watch the spark action on these two plugs. This is the good one, this is the bad one. And I'm going to get in here real close. Okay, spin her up gently. Look at that spark here. Look over here. Look at the spark coming out the side. You see it way over there on the side?
It's irregular.
It's irregular and it's all over the side of the plug. Now, I think that's a fouled plug, what they refer to as a fouled plug. We're going to take it out and just clean around the outer edges and get it, and we're going to try it again just for the heck of it. And when we get finished doing that, we're going to throw it in the trash and replace it. But I'd really like to see what happens when we go around that electrode and clean that out and find out why it is a fouled plug. Isn't this neat stuff? All right, so we got a good Magneto with two good sparklers and getting good spark. We're going to reinstall it in the bike and hook it up to the other timing side, which is not keyed. So in order to align the Magneto to top dead center or full advance, while the engine is at full advance, we're actually going to go ahead and do the whole schmear and take the primary case off and use a degree wheel to set top dead center plus or minus full advance. We're going to actually we'll use it to mark both, so the next guy has both TDC and full advance mark on the alternator. So either the alternator, if there is one. No, this is a generator.
Yeah.
Okay, on the front sprocket anyway. And if we have to make a pointer, we'll make a pointer. But we're going to set the timing with a degree wheel rather than the 3/8 of an inch before top dead center method, which basically will be within 2 to 3 or 4 or 5 degrees of perfect. This should be dead nuts on when we get done. That's a capital should, capital S-H-O-U-L-D, capital should, but it's what we're going to do. All right, when you come across a primary case or a timing cover, and it's really on there really well, like the last guy used, I don't know, epoxy, but anyway, you just can't get it to come off by the rubber mallet method. You can take these box cutter blades and put them in the crevice very, very carefully, and actually right into or next to the gasket, and get them in there and tap them in with a small tapper and use it to break them free, and then you can pry gently and you can see it. You can see the gap opening up there. See that? And if you just keep prying gently, it'll come loose. And then once you get a big enough gap, then you can carefully use a small screwdriver to finish the prying. But notice how that just broke it free really nicely. Okay, that's a good starting point. Okay, this is kind of cool. We got the primary cover off. If you've never seen the inside of an early model BSA, this is what they look like. It's a single row primary chain. That is banjo tight. That should be loosened some. And it's going to be the same way as Norton's. You have to move the transmission forward to loosen that, but that is really tight. That's mean tight. Okay, this is a spring-loaded. What'd you call it? It's sort of like the rubber that comes in the Norton Triumph clutches and the Norton rear. It's a shock absorber. Thank you. It's a shock absorber that absorbs the shock of changing gears and keeps you from shattering your gearbox when you change gears and accelerate and decelerate. This takes up the shock to the engine so it doesn't damage the engine. It's a really neat method. And I've taken them apart before, and I don't remember if you have to be careful here or not, but this is a lot of spring pressure here. So it's a spring shock absorber, single row, with a master link, which is highly unusual. Most primary chains don't have them anymore. And it is very tight. I'm not sure about that. I mean, that's tighter than I like, but I guess it'll survive. I'm not sure. We'll talk about that, because changing it is moving the transmission forward, and we'll talk about that. So okay, now over here, this is some. I'll go ahead and take your opinion, guys. This is the primary oil. It feels very thin. It feels like it might be ATF, automatic transmission fluid, and I've used ATF in primaries for years and years and years and years with no problems. Those are sealed primaries without venting the engine through them, as do the post-1970 Triumphs. So I've never had a problem with them, and look how clean it is. So anybody got an opinion on using ATF? I'd be happy to entertain it. Won't change my opinion probably, but it gives a nice clutch release action and has always been quite adequate. Feel free to express an opinion. I just about fell over there. Okay, so at this point in time, we can hook a degree wheel to the end of the crankshaft and make a pointer to go to the degree wheel and set the engine timing using that method. All right, Kevin's in there talking on the phone, trying to track down a gasket for this bike. And I'm out back, and I just want to show you, isn't this pretty? Isn't this gorgeous? This is so pretty. Who would have thought BMW would ever come up with anything so cool? I love this bike. That is a touring bike that can do anything you want, and it is incredible. It is so cool. Yeah, I love Brit bikes, but come on, guys, this is incredible. All right, guys, just a quick postscript before I put all of these individual videos into one video for publication on YouTube. This is as far as we got today. We went out and did some running around, found a gasket from our friend Roger, and bought a couple bits and pieces at a hardware store for another project. And that's as far as we got. We'll pick it up either tomorrow or the day after. So this is where we are. This is where we're stopping for the day.